Hello everyone and welcome back. In my last video I show you how to assemble a nice shawl collar, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to make the pattern, so stay with me. We're going to start with the front, so I'm going to start by tracing my bodice all around, and for this shawl collar I'm going to pivot my shoulder dart at the bottom. So the first thing to do for shawl collar is to add your overlap. I'm going to put a basic overlap of 2.5 centimeter for this example. Number 2 would be to find the breaking point. So the area where you want the lapel to start turning. Usually we do it pretty much at the bust level, and you put it on the overlap line. Number 3, we're going to place the measurement we need for the stand collar. So this is how much you want your collar up into your neck. Measure how much you want from, let's say, 2.5 to a maximum of 4 centimeter. Elongating the shoulder, but do not trace it. Just do a dot. I'm going to do it 4 centimeter. My number 4 is going to be to trace the fold line from my number 2, my breaking point, touching my stand collar point, and you elongate towards the top. Number 5 is going to be to mark the back neck measurement. I'm going to measure my neck on the back and write down your measurement. Now on the front again, from the number 3 point, I'm going to measure towards the top the back neck measurement. And I'm going to go trace parallel to that line, touching the original neck and shoulder point. So parallel to that line, and I'm going to go again my back neck measurement. Now for the number 6, you're going to go square from that last line that we did, square towards the center. No measurement needed. Now number 7, you're going to trace the style that you want from the shoulder all the way to the breaking point. So I'm going to do a wide one today. You're going to fold your paper on the number 4 line, so the fold line. And trace with the tracing wheel the shape of your collar or your lapel. And very important, just trace the shoulder at the end of your lapel. So you have the reference that this part belongs to the front and the other side will belong to the back. Open your paper and retrace your lapel line. That was number 7 that we duplicate also. One last thing to do, it's to close the back collar, so the fall of the back, that would be number 8, and you go 90 degrees from the center back, so line number 6, touching the shoulder area that we find. So your construction is finished. Now we have to do one last thing. It's to verify the fall of the collar in the back, because this part here is going to fall on your back bodice, and we have to find out if the measurement is good to make it fall exactly where we want. Now for the verification we have 3 things to measure. We have to measure the width of the collar at the shoulder level. So you could do a dotted line, it's not construction line, it's just to measure. And this one is right now 16 centimeter. Width of the collar at the center back. In that case they are exactly the same, but it's normal that they're not the same. This one is 16 also, and you need the measurement, the length of the fall of the back, so from the shoulder to the center back. It's line number 8 now, 9.7. So you need these 3 measurements, and we're going to report them on the back bodice. If you remember, we wanted a 4 centimeter stand collar. The collar is sewn at the neck. It's gonna go up 4, fall back 4 centimeter, and the rest of the measurement will fall on the back bodice. Same thing at the shoulder. It's going to be sewn there, go up 4, come back down 4, and the rest will fall at the shoulder. We're going to take from the front the measurement, the width of the collar at the shoulder, and place it at the shoulder. So I had 16 centimeter, 4 up, 4 down. So that means I'm going to place my ruler the 8 at the neck point, and the rest of my measurement to reach to the 16, I'm going to place it on the shoulder. My collar is going to fall pretty much there on the shoulder, and if you look at my front, it does go over the dart. Same thing at the center back. I'm gonna place 4, and 4 is 8. I'm gonna place my 8 at the neck point and place my 16 on center back. The third measurement, the measurement of the fall on the back, I had 9.7, and if I connect both points, it's going to tell me how much do I need. This is not a construction line, that's why I did dotted line. I need 17.1. How much do I have? I have 9.7. You're gonna do the calculation. I need to open my collar, the edge of my collar, 7.4. That's what I'm missing. So this part, I need to add 7.4 to that line. Instead of ripping out your plan, I suggest you take another piece of paper and put it under, trace the back part of the collar, so this part. Keeping it exactly on the same side. My neck is over here. The neck should not get any longer. It's the other side that we have to elongate. Usually we do open 1 centimeter per line. So in that case, I need to add 7.4 centimeter. I'm going to do 7 lines, 7 opening line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'm going to use this one as my 7th line. And each one will open 1 centimeter, and 4 of them I'll put an extra millimeter. You're going to slash your pattern from the outside to the neck. As I said, the first opening will be the end of my back part. So here's my first opening. You're going to measure your 1 centimeter. You could do already my 1.1 centimeter. I'll put a little bit of glue. Now the second one, 1.1. And another 1.1. And the last one. You make sure that when you slash, you go maybe to 1 or 2 millimeter from the edge so your pattern stay flat. And then you check. We needed 17.1, so you double check from center back all the way to the shoulder point. We should have 17.1 exactly. Last thing you have to do is just to close your line in enough nice soft line. The shawl collar is much easier to assemble when we do a back facing. Usually the facing are more or less 5 centimeter, and from the neck part at the center back it could be a little bit bigger, so maybe 6 centimeter, and keep it square for a little while. Then you just connect both reference together. I will cut my back pattern piece on fold, and I'm going to place my notch at 5 millimeter because it's on fold. I'm keeping the dart at the shoulder, so I put my punch hole, and another punch hole right there for the dart. So I could put my another paper under and retrace my facing, but before doing that, I'll do the seam allowance. I leave the front as it is. The whole thing is my front bodice. I'm going to trace a facing as well on my front. So at the shoulder I did 5 cm on the back. I need to do 5 cm on the front. And from the center front line, not from the overlap, I'm going to measure another 5 centimeters. So you could trace it parallel until the pivot area, and then you're going to do a nice S-shaped curve. I'm going to close my front at the bottom and put my seam allowance all around. Now I'm just going to point out that I'm going to empty the dart. So I'm doubling the paper. I'm going to pin them together. The facing part will have to be a little bit bigger to make sure that the seam doesn't show when it's rolled. From center back to breaking point, you need to add an extra 3 millimeter. 3 millimeter is a minimum all the way to nothing at the breaking point. And then you cut. At the corner, while cutting, you could just soften the corner a tiny little bit. Now my pattern is all cut, and before to separate the layers, you're gonna make your notch. Then before to separate your piece, you're going to make sure you trace the facing line on the back and the front. Now on the front, there's another little thing to do. It's for the corner at the intersection of the shoulder and the neck. I want you to trace a line from one corner to the seam allowance corner, and then you're going to remove a little triangle until about 3 millimeters to the intersection of the seam, and you're going to cut it. Also, I wanted to point out that I did a notch at the breaking point area and at the center front area. These are two references that we need while we're sewing. So now we separate the pattern and retrace the facing line. Now we could just cut them. So now that I have only my front pattern piece, I'm going to remove the extra 3 millimeter because that was just to put on the facing. Now the grain line. On the front, you could use the center front line. This is your grain line, and it's going to be cut too. Center back is unfold. The grain line is parallel to the center back, and it's cut only one time. The back facing is also unfold, and the grain line is also parallel to center back, cut one time. The front facing, the grain line is also parallel to center front, cut 2 times. The last information I put is in red for the fusing. So you're going to put 1 time in fusing for your back facing and 2 times for the facing front, or you could do 4 times in fusing and use them to put on the front. The front facing area should be fused. So that's it for today. I hope this video will be helpful, and if you want to see the final result, I'll be sewing exactly this pattern in my French video on how to assemble the shawl collar. Till then, I see you next time. Bye!